We're going to talk about the material boxes for the F120. These are 200 cubic inch boxes, and you can tell the difference between what type of material it is by looking at the label on the front of the boxes. But if those got torn off, you can't find them. We also have a label on the inside that tells you what type of material it is and the part number. Now, another thing to note about each of these boxes, these are the keys that actually get inserted into the printer. So a couple things to note: the model material key is always blue and the support key is always white, and they're actually different shapes. So it's a little bit difficult to tell on camera. We can look at the printer. It's a little easier to see in the housing of the printer, but there's a different shape, so you can't put the wrong key into the wrong slot on the printer. So we're gonna go over to the printer and get these loaded up. All right, so back over at the printer, we can get started loading material. So depending on your setup, you may want to consider where you're going to be putting your material boxes when deciding which material to load. If both your material boxes will sit underneath your printer, then it doesn't really matter. But if they're going to sit next to your printer like we're going to do, I like to load the support material first because it loads into the lower slot. So I can sit that on the ground and then I can stick the model material on top of it. And that's because ours is on a cart for demonstration purposes. We can move it. This isn't actually the recommended setup because this cart shakes while it's in use, but that's how we have our printer set up, just so we can take it around to show customers. All right, so we're gonna get started here. Got our SR30 support material, and I'm gonna put that down and go to the main screen on the printer and go down to the third button, which is our material, and I'm gonna press Bay or Material Bay 2 button, and I'm gonna press load. Now on the screen we see blue and white. That corresponds to the color of the key, so you can tell the bottom slot is white for the support material. So I'm going to start by pulling the material out and cutting off the end that I kinked previously last time I unloaded to keep it from retracting back in. And now the next step is to come over to the bay here, and we have to manually feed this material up to the head. So I'm going to insert it in, and we're just loading this up until it stops. We'll feel it hit the head. And at this point, it's stopped. I need to push this key all the way in so the machine knows that I've inserted it. And on the front of the screen now, after it's detected it, you can see the head is heating up now, and eventually it's going to purge. So while that's happening, I'm going to close up my material box and sit that down next to my machine. All right, so once it finishes loading, we can tell that the machine thinks it's loaded because the head is now blue. There was a white outline here previously as it's loading. Now that outline has turned blue, so it's a solid blue. And this line right here, instead of it kind of looking like it's been traveling up, it's solid blue, indicating that the material is loaded all the way from the bay into the head. Okay, so we're going to repeat the process here with our model side. So again, staying on the same screen, I'm going to press Model Bay 1 and load. And now I'll open our material box, pull out the key, snip off the little remainder here that is from unloading previously, and just repeat the process. Come back, load the material, and feed it all the way up to the head until we feel it stop. It's stopped. I'm going to insert the key, and then once the machine detects that the key has been inserted, it's going to start heating the head up so that it can purge. Both materials have loaded. Everything's solid blue, so we can tell that the material is loaded for both model and support, and we're ready to go.